Hey everyone, and welcome along to my first battle report from the storm over Stirling I was at last weekend. It's taken me a bit of time to get started on these just because it's been a busy week at work. I will try and get through all 5 games over the next few days. Wish me luck on that one. So my first game, as you can see, was against Scott Smith with the Legions of Chaos. He was bringing a Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage with Heroic Killing Blow. This was a new opponent for me. I'd never played Scott before. We are both enjoy this game. There's some swings of luck both ways. Watch and you'll find out. But anyway, here's my spells from 4 from Life and 2 from the Doomfire Warlocks. And this was just at the start of turn. We got a little token here, which is a turn counter. So turn 0 since we haven't actually started yet. And we go into my deployment. So on my right hand side, I have a Great Eagle, a Frostheart Phoenix. I have 30 Witch Elves with Hillebron and a Cauldron of Blood with my Death Hag BSB. I have a unit of 5 Doomfire Warlocks. I have a unit of 20 Glade Guard with True Flight Arrows and a Supreme Sorceress who is level 4 to life, as you may have guessed. Another Great Eagle. I have 7 Wild Riders, and I also have a couple of Scouts that are on in for turn 1 and go into that building. On his left flank, he has a Skull Cannon. In his centre, he has another Skull Cannon. He has 4 Skull Crushers of Khorne. He has a block of Blood Letters. I think it's about 20, maybe 24, can't remember. He has a BSB on a Demonic Steed, 1 Chaos Chariot. On this side, he has 5 of the new Skull Reaper models. I think it's the Skull Reapers. Then he has another Chaos Chariot, and then his Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage, which I was slightly worried about. So as you can see, he is running a mono Khorne army, which was pretty cool. So no magic for him, but we'll see how that goes. So he gets turn 1, and he flies his Bloodthirster up out of the line of sight of my Wild Riders and looking to take my flank. And everything else starts to move up cautiously. It doesn't move up too far. Chariots move forward. The Skull Crushers move forward. Blood Letters come forward a little. The cannons turn to take aim at what they want to. This cannon actually moves further back to make sure he doesn't get charged by any vanguarding units. First cannon, he shoots and misfires and rolls a 6, so he can't shoot this turn and can shoot fine next turn. The second cannon takes aim and kills off my Frostheart Phoenix. It wounds, I fail my ward save, and he rolls 5 wounds, which is, incidentally enough, just enough to kill him. So there's 240 points down right away. Gotta love skull cannons. Or any kind of cannons. And that's the end of my opponent's turn. So we go into my turn. My scouts move into that building, as you can see. My Wild Riders move across here, meaning that Bloodthirster has a 22-inch charge, so he needs double 6s. So he'll probably just be moving forward. The Witch Elves push forward to stay in the front arc of the Skull Crushers and bait them across. The Doomfire Warlocks have marched up, and I'm hoping to maybe get off a Doombolt or something and kill off a Skull Cannon, because I need rid of those. In my magic phase, I get off Throne of Vines on my Sorceress, which means I can miscast away. But I did get it off irresistibly, and I rolled a 1, so I didn't get to ignore the miscast, and I lost a wizard level and the spell. So yeah, that was successful magic phase. I then get Soul Blight off on the Skull Crushers, just that if they make their charge or they fail a frenzy test and get in, that they are not quite as effective, especially against my toughness 3 troops. I fail to get off Doombolt, so I don't kill off either of the Skull Cannons. In my shooting phase, I do 2 wounds to this chariot. And that's it. So we go into my opponent's turn, and he elects to charge the Wild Riders with both his Skull Crushers and the chariot, and he fails both. So they're now set up just for a juicy charge. I really need to get rid of the Skull Crushers because, well, they're Skull Crushers. And he does what I would have done and just flies straight up with this Bloodthirster. He's right in my face now, and there's no way I can get 20 inches away again to try and avoid a charge next turn. So that's not looking promising. And everything else just sort of wheels to face in towards the combats and in the way I'm coming across from the right hand side. This is a terrible picture, but it's just showing you the way everything was facing and where the Skull Cannons had turned up. So we go into his shooting phase again, and he puts the cannon straight through the cauldron. I fail the 4-up ward save, and he does 5 wounds, which, once again, incidentally, is the exact number he needed to kill it. So, bit of bad luck for me in turn 1 and 2. I'm only down a few hundred points. And we go into my turn. So I declare a charge with my Witch Elves, with Hellbrawn, and my Wild Riders into those Skull Crushers. And because of the failed charge on the Skull Crushers, the Witches got into the side, and both of them make it. Oh, I'd also forgot to mention that he fired his other cannon through the Wild Riders and managed to kill off 3 of them last turn. So only 4 Wild Riders left, but that's still 12 strength, 5 attacks that are armor piercing. So definitely handy. And my Witch Elves, as you can see, 30 Witch Elves and Hellbrawn is enough to put a dent in anything. My Doomfire Warlocks just use their fast cav trickery and zip around beside this Skull Cannon, and we're going to try and Doombolt it. You may see a running theme with my Doomfire Warlocks in most games. Run about, try and Doombolt stuff, fail miserably. That's generally how it goes. So I also just wheel my about face my Glade Guard here, and I'm hoping to just put as many wounds through on the Bloodthirster as possible. I have 20 shots hitting on 3s, wounded on 6s. I've also got the Glade, the Way Watchers who are sitting in that building who are hitting on 3s, wounded on 6s. And if he charges my bunker unit there, that's another 20 shots hitting on 3s, wounded on 6s. I'm hoping that I can get through the 5 wounds that I need. We go into my turn. I try to cast Flesh to Stone on my Witch Elves. Sorry, not my Witch Elves, on my Glade Guard unit. So that if the Bloodthirster does get in next turn, they are toughness 7. However, I only roll 3 instead of 4. That's what I get for being cocky and putting 2 dice into it. It goes to my shooting phase, and I do 3 wounds to the Bloodthirster. So he's below half health now. I'm hoping that I can do the exact same again if he charges, and I'll get another 3 wounds and kill him off. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? And over here, we go into combat. Hellbrawn and the Wild Riders just chew through the whole unit of the Skull Crushers, and they disappear. I overrun with the Wild Riders, and the Witch Elves have to, in fact both units have to overrun, so I roll for the Wild Riders first, and they get forward straight into his BSB, which is there just in front of the Eagle and behind the bloody Skull Crushers going away. and the Witch Elves overrun, but they stop just an inch away from the Wild Riders. So that's how things ended up, and I'm quite pleased with that. It was a big chunk of points, and I'm just hoping that my Wild Riders can now kill off his BSB. So we go into his turn, and he does as he's going to do. Bloodthirster aims to charge at the Glade Guard, who fire away. 20 shots, hitting in threes, and I don't roll a single 6. So he's on 3 wounds, and he's right into the face of the Glade Guard. He also charges with this Chariot. However, he rolls 3 1s on the charge range, so doesn't make it and just trundles forward an inch. I can't say I was disappointed with that. I'm pretty sure that a Bloodthirster would be enough to wipe through that unit anyway, but a Chariot would certainly have sealed the deal. Just a picture here of the Bloodthirster getting in. Couldn't quite sit in because of the terrain, so he's just sitting down there facing up looking at my Glade Guard menacingly. He also manages to charge his Bloodletters at my Eagle, who flees. Sorry, he charges the Skull Cannon at my Eagle, who flees, and he then charges the Bloodletters into the flank of my Wild Riders. So that's not going to go well. I do hold out some hope. I may lose the 200 points for the Wild Riders, and I'll have a counter charge of some form with the Witch Elves, and hopefully blow through anything that I need to there. And we then go into the Reign of Chaos table. He rolls on that. He rolls a 3, which means he has to pick a randomly selected character, take a leadership test, and for anything he fails by, lose a wound with no saves allowed. So he rolls 3, randomly selects his Bloodthirster, who has a leadership 9. He then rolls an 11. He's outside the BSB range, which means 2 wounds are done to the Bloodthirster. I had already done 3, and Khornes decides to gimp himself. I actually let out a whoop and a cheer at this point, because I thought all was lost to my backlines. But Khornes decided he'd had enough and took his toys back home. So the Bloodthirster disappears, and I get about, what, 500 points plus the general for that. So I think it's 625 points altogether, just because Khornes was having a bad day. I'm not complaining, but my opponent was a bit gutted, as you can understand. We then go into the shooting phase. Skull Cannon had moved up and around, fires through and kills 2 of my Warlocks. This is just a picture of my Glade Guard doing their happy dance. And over here, my Wild Riders don't manage to kill the BSB and get wiped out anyway. So that's up. And that's where everything goes. That's how things look at the start of my turn 3. So I elect to charge straight into his BSB with the Witch Elves and Hellrun. I rally my Eagle. My Doomfire Warlocks come across this way. Guess what I want to do here? I'm going to try and Doombolt off the Skull Cannon, or Soul Blight everything that they're not hitting my Elves quite so easily. So I get off Soul Blight, and I get off Flesh to Stone, I think, on the Witch Elves. So I'm quite happy about that. It means my Witch Elves are toughness 5. And then we go into shooting, and I can't remember what happens. I kill off. I do a couple of wounds here and there, but I don't actually do much. We go into the combat phase, and this is his BSB's ward saves, I think. I managed to do 4 wounds, and I kill him with Hellbrawn. And I overrun. I was hoping to get into the Skull Reapers, but wasn't quite far enough. And now the Bloodletters, the Skull Reapers, and the Chariot can all kill me. So that's going to be fun. Ah, sorry, I guess I mean, he charged me, so I guess I didn't kill him. I'm guessing he must have broken and ran. Can't quite remember now. Yeah, either way, my Witch Elves end up over there and I'm getting charged next turn. So this is how things look going into my opponent's turn. And he has a unit of Flesh Hounds which have failed to come on the first 3 turns. They come on and move right up to my Glade Guard's back, so that there's nothing I can do except turn and fight them for next turn. A cannon goes through one of my Eagles, kills it. He fires a cannon through my Sorceress, who fails her Lookout Sir, and gets wounded, fails her ward save, but only takes a wound. So I was extremely lucky here. Failing my Lookout Sir was a bit on the shoddy side. I wasn't happy with that, but I think I only took a wound, so I was okay. I survived. His Skull Cannon had charged my Doomfire Warlocks, which, as it's a cannon, I keep forgetting that it can charge. You'll see that it actually costs me a points in a game further on, but I don't know why, I just see it as a cannon and I forget that it's a chariot and it charges and it does a shitload of wounds. So yeah, just my own stupidity, but got my Doomfire Warlocks charged. We go into the combat. As I said, everything charged into the Witch Elves, but my Witch Elves are toughness 5 at this point, and Hellbrawn kills off 3 of the Skull Reapers. The Witch Elves just go to town on the Bloodletters, and I don't think I do much to the Chariot. With my high toughness, he only managed to kill off 4 Witch Elves, and with demonic instability, or instability now, same rule as the undead, they basically crumble. A load more Bloodletters die, so there's only 4 of those left, so they are manageable. And the Chariot and the Skull Reapers both fail their break tests. They are double ones, and they run. I elect not to reform, basically so that on his turn, if he doesn't rally those Skull Reapers, I'm hoping to kill off the Bloodletters and charge them off the board if they're not already. Or if he does rally them, it gives me a charge into them. We go into my turn. My Eagle just charges the Chariot. As he's already fleeing, he runs. However, my Eagle catches it and runs it down. My Glade Guard turn around. I cast something. Sorry, Awakening of the Woods, which I roll a double 6 on. And I managed to kill off a single Cornhound. I then shoot at them, and manage to kill another one. And we then go into combat. I kill off the Bloodletters, and I keep to face the Skull Reapers. Into my opponent's turn, and the Hounds charge into my Glade Guard. He's too close for me to stand and shoot, so that's the way it looks there. Skull Cannons just turn around to face towards things and try and annoy me. The Skull Reapers rally. We go into combat and my Glade Guard kill off a dog, and the dogs kill off a couple of Glade Guard in return. However, he didn't direct any attacks at my Sorceress, which I felt was a mistake because he would have been able to get points that way. I thought he maybe should have did that because he could have killed her. Then he does lose the combat by, in fact I think this is a drawn combat because of the amount of wounds he does. And then we go into my turn. So my Witch Elves charge the Skull Reapers. My Eagle just flies away, trying to get away from cannons to try and survive. We go into combat. He puts another wound through in the Sorceress, and he loses another dog. And I think he loses the combat and crumbles. One of the Skull Cannons tries to fire at my... Sorry, the Witch Elves kill off the Skull Reapers. We go into my opponent's last turn. He fires a Skull Cannon at the Witch Elves, just trying for a lucky shot on Hellebron. And it blows up, so I get more points for that. And this is basically how the game looks at the end of the game. He has a Skull Cannon left. I have my Witch Elves, Hellebron, my Glade Guard, my Way Watchers, and my Sorceress. So this does end up being a 20-0 victory. I get bonus points for table quarters, and I get bonus points for breaking my opponent. So it's a pretty massive victory, which tends to be my forte at these tournaments. As I get a good victory on turn 1, I end up quite high up in the tables and then get beat down in day 2. So we'll see how that goes in this one. But yeah, very good game. When the Bloodthirster got into my Glade Guard, things were going to look a bit grim, especially after having lost my Frostheart Phoenix and the Cauldron, turn 1 and 2 to the cannons. But it ends up a solid victory for the host of the Eternity King. Sorry, I've got some Wood Elves in there. Scott was a very good opponent. It was very, very funny seeing Khornes kill off his own Bloodthirster. But that definitely swung things massively in my favour. Giving me a good victory and a memorable experience. So that's the end of that. I'll see you on game 2. Thanks for listening.